Hi, Onis. Can you share a little bit more about our collaboration between you guys from Tech Synergy and AceMakers?
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about it. First of all, my name is Onis Emem, and I'm also the co-founder and also CEO of Tech Synergy. And yeah, and when we started thinking about improving sales, we were not yet sure exactly what we wanted, and we already started speaking with a couple of people. And then I think I saw Matt, I think it was your own message on LinkedIn, and after the second message or so, I was like, okay, fine, let's just have a seat. Let me just speak to you because I felt like, okay, I still had some people I wanted to speak with directly that through reference or some other person had pointed them out to me, but I was like, okay, let me go with this. And I saw some videos and all of that, some resources, other testimonials, the process, and it was quite interesting. So I was like, okay, I booked the call and yeah, we decided to make a decision. And I always tell my team that one thing that made me make the decision to go with AceMakers was they seem to have like a very clear process and they seem like very organized. So it was for us, that was like why we joined, why we chose AceMakers apart from other people that had been referred to us directly by people we knew, but we decided to go with people we met just from a cold LinkedIn message and stuff like that. So it was kind of interesting. Yeah, but so far it was really interesting. Um, we had to like have the first call where we were giving some tax and all of that. And I think the first tax was really primarily around the positioning and being able to get it clearly, what value you are providing to your customers and all of that, and being able to craft it out, not just having it in our head. We had it in our head. We knew how to say it with so many words, but being able to like break it down, make it simple enough that someone can easily just chew on. That was the most difficult part for me. I'm usually very technical, so I either I find myself going too technical or going, so I didn't just know how the perfect pitch could work and how we could do that perfectly. I think that's one area that Matt really helped. I think at the point Matt says that I was getting really frustrated because I couldn't, really do that. It's for me, it's like sales is one of the most difficult things. So, but yeah, I think that really helps, going through those calls, being able to see our fears, see the areas we were very uncomfortable with, and being able to help us, to get those positioning, provide examples, and I think those examples also really helped start crafting out those messages, who our perfect personas are. We had a group of, I think, about six at first, yeah, that we worked with, and then we were able to develop positionings for each of them, which was kind of really interesting. Yeah, I think those are like the major things that we went
Y-
through so far.
Yeah, and I think it's really hard for anybody who are coming up with a new idea to really transfer this information into a clear structure, into clear positioning. So I think that was the first big step to go through to figure this out. And then we started building outreach channels. Can you share a little bit more about that? So once we transferred idea into more specific concept of who is being targeted and what the offer is, can you talk a bit more on how we started communicating this offer to
Oh,
validate the idea?
yeah, the positioning really helped because with it, we're able to now draft out proper offer formulations for each of those personas. And it was interesting because that was what led to the campaigns, and each of the campaigns followed, those systems and those names and everything. It was really the tools that we were introduced to. I think for one, apart from crafting out the messages, the tools we were being introduced to from training were so helpful. I mean, being able to have everything, from creating out new emails, and yeah, the trainings also was well structured. So we had to create emails and all of those stuffs, and then being able to make them usable in such a way that our messages are not going to fall into people's
Spam
people's
folders or
boxes that like spam boxes or stuff like that, but rather get them directly. So it was really interesting being able to set up the account and having someone at least check out what we are doing and being sure that it's being done correctly, and following through the process, one after the other. I think those were really interesting.
And what was the hardest part about this?
I think for us the hardest part was the upper formulation and positioning messaging. That was more difficult. The technical part of setting up the different emails, setting up accounts for almost 12 accounts and all of that. For me, those were a bit easier because they were technical, so it was kind of okay. I could always find my way around the technical stuff. But the positioning of the message, crafting out those sequences beforehand, before we moved to the tools, we had those sequences already in place. So that really helped. So all I was doing was just moving the sequences into the tools and setting up the automations and those other settings. So because I have a technical background, the technical part was easy for me, but the upper formulations and all of that were actually the most difficult. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this one is a challenge for a lot of people because it's just so much less straightforward. When it comes to setup of the tools, it is quite straightforward in the sense of, hey, this is step one, this is step two, this is how you
So
do it.
yeah.
But when it comes to offer formulation and how to communicate it, I think a lot of people are just scratching their heads because it is just so vague on
Exactly.
how to do this and what to do exactly. And it's a bit of creative work and it's just simply not a step-by-step process. So
Exactly.
in terms of our support, what was the most supportive to this, vague creative process? What was it that you get to talk with somebody on calls one-on-one and like reorganize your thoughts, or was it the structure of the frameworks, or was it the maybe some of those group meetings, or what was the thing that really helped you nail this down the most out of all the aspects that we've worked on?
Yeah, I think we actually, first of all, I think maybe we prepared a date because at least it was clear from the onset that this wasn't going to be done for you, and it's not a done for you kind of service. I think making that clear right away helps to, like, first of all, narrow our mind. We were really concerned about the fact that we wanted to learn it ourselves. So the coaching, the one-on-one section, being also to be able to have access to you via WhatsApp chat. I think that was super good. That made it easy because sometimes when the ideas just pop up, you just want someone, you just want to be able to just write it and drop the message there. And the speed of response and everything was really helpful. Then for me, I'm someone that I have a lot of things on my plate, so I like things being organized because that's the only way I can do multiple things at the same time. And so we having like an Asana board where the tasks were being assigned on what to do within maybe this week and maybe next week. Having that kind of structure really helped me because I knew what I needed to do within this week while achieving the overall goal. So I wasn't thinking of 1,000 things or multiple things, what to set first, what to do first, what position to write next. But everything was already assigned as tasks, so I could just say, okay, deal with it once at a time, set out some time, deal with one, come back again, deal with the second. So I think that structure really helped me because of my kind of person and how I needed to be able to keep things on track. The next part was the general group section. I think I started joining a few, and I was really intrigued because at that point you were hearing other people's struggle because it was no longer our struggle alone as tech synergy. I was now hearing about other people's own struggles. So I would say I will favor one over the other. I feel like it was a complete package in the sense that we had the one-on-one, and then when things started getting challenging, I was able to know that, oh yeah, I'm not alone. Other people are also facing the same challenges, and also it was also interesting to see that stocks were well structured in a way that I could pick them up whenever I had time. I knew what to do and what to do next, in a very structured manner. I don't know. I
And
hope this helps.
and
Mm.
and and then what is some things that were going on through your head before starting working with us? Like, were you worried to get started? I think things like that in general might be a bit stressful for people to get started because you never know how to get a result, if you will get results. Obviously,
Yeah.
you're paying us a consulting fee, and this is a bit vague. Like, if I get a result, will I get a result? Is there's a lot of people on the internet talking about, hey, you can get this and that business result if you work with us. And then you said that we, met each other on LinkedIn from messaging you.
Mm.
So what were some of those things going on through your head that you were worried that might not work, and how did you overcome them and actually trusted us before
Yeah,
we
I
got
think
to know each other?
yeah, I think it was a big concern, the fact that I was working with a team that I had not met before. But at the same time, I realized that that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to reach out to people that we've never met before. And it was one of the turning points for us, or especially for me in making the decision as one of the co-founders. I was talking to my team and I was like, I'd rather go with someone that was able to like take that bold move and write me. And the offer is so convincing that I feel like it's a good, it was clear like what you were trying to provide was it wasn't as vague as a lot of people made it look, and a lot of people offered provide they were trying to like help you do help you do it, but I think you were the only one that was willing to like provide us the training to know how to do it ourselves. I think that made a difference. Even if the other options, to be honest, were actually cheaper. Let me be honest here. The other options were actually cheaper. And they were actually going to do a bulk part of the job and set it rolling for us. But we felt like, okay, this is going to be something that we are going to use all through the life cycle of our business. So I rather we pay more and use a business that has that kind of structure. I watched the videos of others, and that gave me some confidence. I looked at Matt's experience particularly, and the videos especially. I think the case studies and all. I think that really boosted the confidence. I looked at the quality of the message I was sent and how I was able to respond to it. I realized that okay, these guys are teaching stuff that they themselves are using. So that means they can teach it and I'll be able to use it and have the same impact. So yeah, I like the fact that I was trying to get into messaging people and making sales to the unknown, and I was contacted by an unknown person. So yeah, so that's why it made sense to me.
And then you actually got the sale in the quite relatively fast. So it's
Mhm.
sometimes hard to promise somebody specific results with figuring out a new offer and figuring out something that hasn't been done before, especially disruptive offer as yours. So we never try to overpromise too much, but so I don't want anybody to think that this result is something that can be that easily replicated. But you got quite good result relatively fast. Can you talk about this?
Yeah, I think it was really interesting being able to get the results so fast. I think a lot of work went through the positioning. Like I said, it was the most frustrating time for me in particular, but I'm happy we got through it. I wrote so many messages, and we had to cancel. And then I think there was a point. Matt also wrote. You actually now took some time to actually wrote some things, and then I was able to merge it with what I was thinking from my own technical perspective and direct view. And I think that was how we were able to come up with the perfect the most stable message, which we still use to now. I think that was what happened. The fact was being able to get that right message through. I think that was the most important stuff. Being able to follow the instructions for setting up the emails, the email outreach. I think that also really helped because I think I like to follow instructions. So whenever I notice that okay, this stuff has a bit of rules that you have to follow, I try not to mess things up. I try to experiment maybe later. So I followed it up to the letter. Every of the process, to verifying the emails, every single step of the way, and I followed everything accordingly. And I think that helped because it made our metrics to really stand out. So I think that helps crafting the message and being able to set up the account exactly as we're supposed to, and not trying to mess things up too much. So, but yeah, the crafting of the message for me, I think is the most important. Most people reach out and they said, and we don't need to over explain the idea when I get on the call. They're like, your message was so clear. They get it, like they already understand the concept, even though it's a kind of a complicated idea, but the fact that they get it so easily after reading our email, it meant we really did a good job crafting out that message. Yeah.
And what was the specific result that you got?
We were able to we closed our first sales in the second month. Yeah, with with a client in Canada. Straight from cold email, never been to Canada, never met him before, from Estonia here. And he signed the deal with no much objections and all. Yeah.
That is amazing. So you were able to acquire this customer through email and never really spoke to them. And really, I think that the sale itself is a nice cherry on top of the even more important topic here, which is the validation of the offer, right? Because when you're
Mm,
starting this out, I feel like this is really what you're going for, to get some market feedback, whether this offer is even in demand or whether this is in your head. You think it's cool, but maybe
yeah,
other people
yeah,
don't.
yeah. I think that's for me, that's the biggest, that's the biggest, because for the client, it was really interesting. For him, it was like, this is like something that he hasn't thought of, that listening to it or reading it was like mind blowing to him. So he really wanted to get in touch. And by the time we spoke during the first call and everything, it was clear to him that there's no other place he was going to find something better than this. And it was like just a straight deal. And it showed that, oh, this idea it's something people haven't thought of. This is a new angle. And then, it's more interesting having people say that back to you, like this is really cool, and see that they're willing to commit their own money into it. So I think that's another level altogether. Someone being able to commit the amount, that the client committed, into it and say, hey, because our model is an upfront payment, and they're able to commit the full amount upfront and say, hey, we're going to pay for this. So it's not just about the words or the intention. It's the fact that it's so valuable that the customer was willing and happy, not just willing, was really happy and excited to like part with that amount, to see his to get on the platform. So it was really cool for us. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Anis, for sharing this. That was very clear and valuable. Appreciate this.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Matt. Really appreciate it.